It's testing day. 915 v 917. What's going to perform the best on the course? So at the end of last year, Titleist brought out the 917 driver. They go in a cycle of 2 years, Titleist, with their drivers. So the 915 has been out for 2 years now. And it's the one I've had in my bag for about the last 5-6 months now. And I've really found, although a little bit shorter than my previous driver, the Ping G30, it's really added some consistency off the tee for me. And I've really started to be able to shape shots a lot better. Draw was literally a myth for me up until a few months ago. Now it's a really, really useful shot for me out on the course. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm absolutely loving the 915 at the moment. But apparently the 917 is that little bit further. So if I can get that bit of distance, keep the consistency, could be tempting. So the main difference in the 917 is this little thing here. So it comes with a couple of little weights. This one's just a neutral 12 gram weight, which just pops in there. You can get a fade and draw bias weight. I thought it would look a little bit bulky at first on the bottom of the club there, but it is quite nice and subtle. And you see with a lot of drivers, you've got a lot of weights that you kind of slide around. I really do like the idea of that weight. So again, what difference it will make, I'm not too sure, but we can have a little play around with that. You can have a little play around with that if you go and get fitted. For myself, I'm more than happy just keeping it in neutral, to be honest. That suits me fine. As with the 915, we've got the same hosel there, with the different adjustments from A1 up to D4. See that? Instead of me explaining that to you, because I do find it epically confusing and I still don't remember it off the top of my head after looking at it for years now, I'll put this picture up and you can have a look at just the amount of different settings you can have these drivers on. So here you are, all 16 of Titleist different adjustments. Pop on the website to get a closer look at these. Me personally, I have only kept to A1, sometimes D1, just to de-loft it a little bit. Haven't bothered with draw or fade before. We are here at Lewes Golf Club today, on top of the Downs, Sussex Downs. Look at this, absolute beauty of a day. Overlooking the town, and hardly any wind either. So it's a pretty course, but what would you play here? Let's see how we do. Yeah, just about. Little 9-iron. Take that. So it's actually warm enough for polos. I could even be wearing shorts. South of England, mid-January. Par 5, times a test, my 915 against the new 917. I've had a lot more distance on the 917. I really like the consistency of my 915. So let's have a look if I can get consistency and distance. That's going to be the first one. That'll be a good test, won't it?
Mm. Yeah, that one looked like it went a lot further.
So I must just add with those two shots there, the 915 drive did feel like I got a bit behind that as a miss hit. Alignment was wrong, which is my miss, a little bit of a over fade if you like. So that was understandable, that miss. Not one that usually happens lately actually. As for the one with a 917, it felt so much more whippier when the weight of the shaft that's in it is actually heavier. So that was really interesting. Obviously both stiff. The shaft that I've got in the 917 is the speeder shaft, which was recommended to me. You might have seen it in the Callaway drivers. The XRs, I know, use the speeder shaft, and they're quite a popular shaft. So I was told that would be my ideal shaft, but it felt so whippy for me. So to be accurate, pop our dealer shaft from the 915 into the 917 and see if that makes a difference.
Strike. Right where you want it.
That'd be a good test.
Shaft.
That's the test, isn't it? So this is the 917 with exactly the same shaft as my best shot with the 915. But why are we at the 917 first? Because the 915 is down here. So 1, 2, that is about 15 yards. There's the 915. Slope just off the right, down there. That is a good 15 yards. That's the shot. The 915 has won that. So this is my miss hit with the 915. Not too bad. It has gone about 30 yards less than the really good one. A little bit off the right edge. But the miss hits with the 917, there somewhere. What a beaut of a day. So, really interesting on-course test there. Luckily, both shots of each went, well, pretty much identically, which is really useful. First two, bit fadey, on borderline slicey, which, as I mentioned, one was a bad shot and one was just from the 917 feeling really whippy. 915, it was okay. It was only about 5 yards off the right-hand side, and it didn't go too far. It was about 30 yards back from the well-hit one. But obviously it's playable, unlike the 917 drive, which was unplayable. So obviously not going to want to drop. So that, you know, that's one win for the 915. Second shots were really interesting. Absolutely nailed both. And they were both right out the middle and same sort of flight as well, which you can see from the shot tracer there. So, I mean, to be 15 yards further with the 915 was a bit of a shock to me. From the way I hit them, I did actually expect the 917 to have gone that a little bit further, in all honesty. Obviously, I couldn't see the bounce on the fairway, but I can't imagine that would have made too much difference. Granted, maybe I could have had a couple more shots with each, just to see if that was an accurate overall representation of the two drivers. But just from that review alone, 15 yards extra with the 915. I was promised extra distance with the 917. I was told that was the main difference. Same shaft and everything, but not as far. So I cannot see that being replaced in my bag. It's still a 915. Great driver, really recommend it. If you are a mid-high handicapper, it is that little bit more forgiving. Yes, it's not going to be the longest drive you test, but I tell people so often through working here that they come and look at the simulator and the distances. They get so bogged down on, oh, that one's gone 5-10 yards further. But would you rather be sitting in the clubhouse telling your mates, oh, I smashed a drive, 10 yards further than you did today. Oh, where was it? It was in the trees, so I had to drop out. Or would you rather be that 5-10 yards further back, but hitting your approach shot from the fairway and giving yourself a good chance at birdie? I know what I prefer every time. Don't get too bogged down with distance stats. Look at dispersion and look at your consistency, and more than anything, the feel. This feels lovely, it's consistent, and the distance doesn't worry me too much, to be honest. So that's staying in my bag, and I recommend you to get it in your bag, to be honest. Good work from Titleist on the 915. 917, I can see its benefits. Does feel nice and sound nicer, to be fair. But at the moment it just doesn't challenge the 915 for me. So there we go. As always, subscribe, share, like. Hope you enjoyed. Get some more testing done next week, hopefully. Enjoy the rest of your week and get out and play some good golf.